Welcome, lads, ladies and gentlemen, to the top 5 custom wonder weapons. In this video, we'll be diving into the innovation that the community has delivered to bring us all original, unique wonder weapons into zombies. Naturally, to keep things fair, weapons that are directly based off of an existing Treyarch wonder weapon will not be considered for this list, as we'll be focusing solely on weapons we have not seen in zombies before in any capacity. Whether they're all original or based from another game, this list is comprised of the very best the community has to offer. Coming in straight at number 5, we have the Voltgewehr from Shoot House. This is an all-original weapon top to bottom. We've got a custom model, we've got custom animations, and a custom unique effect. The standard use for this weapon involves shooting a zombie amongst a horde, and once ensnared by electricity, shoot it in the head and it will cause a devastating blast, throwing all zombies around it into oblivion. I like the unique approach to the functionality of this wonder weapon, and I think it absolutely looks gorgeous. It's very clear that Chicken Hat Man, the developer of both the wonder weapon and the map itself, put a lot of effort into the visuals in particular of this weapon with an all-original design that gives off quintessential wonder weapon energy. The build process for this weapon is pretty straightforward, and I like that. All you need to do is grab a shovel, dig 3 sites that spawn parts, grab a 4th part by killing a raps drone, which you'll do through natural gameplay anyway, collect some souls in a dedicated room, and then kill the zombie that has it in its possession. It's a clean-cut quest that most people are going to do the majority of through natural gameplay anyway, and I think it's fitting considering that this weapon needs the use of other weapons to harness its full potential. So of course it does kind of go without saying that this weapon will not save you from being trapped in a corner, but thankfully upgrading the Voltgewehr is actually dead simple. You can feed it straight into the Pack-a-Punch machine found in the Zeppelin, and you'll be granted with the upgraded variant. Naturally, this variant is more effective. Much like the Wunderwaffe from back in the day, it turns the blue electrical energy in its container into red, which I think is really cool. The blast is amplified, and more to the point, taking this Sturmliniengewehr into round 100 will actually yield positive results. You can absolutely still cause chaos in this high round with this weapon. It's not so broken that it's like foolproof. You are still going to have to put in the work, and I really like wonder weapons with this kind of dynamic because it doesn't give you an easy win, but also doesn't become useless, and I feel like that's where wonder weapons should sit in terms of their power. So combining all of these things together, it's very easy to put the Voltgewehr from Shoot House very comfortably in that number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4, we have the Tractor Cannon from Rainy Death by Hitman Veer. Yes, this is the exotic weapon from Destiny, brought into COD Zombies in the most beautiful way possible. Not only is it housed in probably my favorite custom map of all time, but it comes complete with fully reworked animations, including inspect animations as well, and of course for zombies, new functionality wherein it functions a lot like just a cooler version of the Thunder Gun. Put simply, if you find yourself in a sticky situation, all you have to do is fire this thing and your problems go away. It is a very, very powerful wonder weapon, which kind of makes sense when we go through how tedious it is to actually get it. The build quest does involve a lot of running around. It does involve a few tedious steps and passing through multiple rounds to get the kills and requirements needed to get your hands on this weapon. There's radios that kind of trigger themselves based on proximity that you don't actually interact with, and then you'll need to use those radios to memorize in order to shoot some crates. And the kicker is that you actually have to use a wonder weapon that you can only get from the mystery box to shoot said crates with. You'll also need to collect souls from these electric crawlers that spawn not very frequently, so you're having to push for a few rounds and, you know, do a lot of stuff to get this tractor cannon, but it is so worth it. Upgrading this weapon is nice and simple. Again, you just push it through the Pack-a-Punch machine and you get an even more powerful variant. And yes, yet again, this is another weapon that works amazingly well on round 100. Even in this high round, you will destroy everything in your wake. Even the boss zombie can be taken down with a fair few shots from this thing. The effort is most definitely worth the reward, and just complete with the whole custom animation rigging and the general aesthetics of the entire weapon, especially when you actually fire it. The Tractor Cannon from Rainy Death definitely deserves to be in the number 4 spot for this list. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have 2 weapons that are both from Doom and both brought to us by Radiant. The first of the 2 is the Gauss Cannon, found within Sinister Sanctorum, which is a map also developed by Radiant. This is, of course, a huge freaking gun, and its functionality is dead simple. Shoot a massive beam of energy in a straight line, and anything in that line dies. Simple as that. It doesn't hold much ammo, but to be fair, with the way this map is orchestrated, you're frequently buying ammo in between rounds, so that I guess is counterbalanced. Acquiring this weapon is simply a game of chance. In this map, there is kind of like an item shop, and you just basically need to wait for it to appear in the item shop, and you'll be able able to just grab it and wield it to your heart's content. Obviously, visually, it's very striking. It's fully animated and the effects are just absolutely brutal. I love it. This was no quick port. It's very clear that each individual element of this weapon had a lot of passion put into it, and it is incredibly effective. And yet again, this is another weapon that functions extremely well on round 100. Much like in the rounds prior, you just shoot this thing straight and anything in its wake is gone. It is an essential weapon for surviving in this map, and it definitely deserves recognition in this list. Unfortunately, there's no upgrade variant, at least from what I could tell, as there is no pack-a-punch machine in this map. But moving on to the other Doom weapon, it is of course the BFG 9000 found in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This is still Radiant's weapon, but brought to us in Deadshot's custom Five Nights at Freddy's map. And in this one, the Wonder Weapon has a similar-esque functionality wherein you shoot a straight beam of energy. However, you're going to want to shoot it over the zombies' heads because it effectively arcs out electrical surges that absolutely annihilate any zombie that comes into contact with it. It is extremely powerful if you use it right, and acquiring it is nice and simple. You just need to keep spinning the box and eventually you get it. In any format, on any round, this weapon will deliver. Much like the Gauss cannon, it's fully animated. It's got all kinds of awesome effects going for it. It's freaking huge, as the name implies. And just seeing these Doom weapons, it's just such a dope thing to see in zombies. It's so fitting as well. Upgrading the BFG 9000 is very simple too. You just need to pop it into the pack-a-punch machine and you get the upgraded variant. And yes, this also works amazingly well on round 100. You can keep popping off with this thing. It does deliver drops as well. So if you want to grab some death machines, if you want to grab a max ammo, you could do all of those things with this weapon. It just straight up won't let you down. If you ever find yourself playing this map, I urge you, get your hands on the BFG 9000. It is such a blast to use. And both of these weapons will get you out of corners so long as you take into account a brief delay in firing. All things considered, these two weapons, they are relatively similar in how they function and how they look, and they both definitely deserve a podium position in this list. But moving on to number 2, we have the Atomwaffe from Atonement. This weapon was a collaborative effort from Dan Hesterman, Divine Fury, Haribo21, and Madgaz, who developed the map itself. Now, before we take a deep dive into the weapon itself, it's worth mentioning that this is a fully custom Wonder Weapon found in a map from 2019. So this was way before its time. What it effectively is kind of like an elemental meteor, like 115 powered cannon with multiple barrels, sending out an incredibly powerful blast of energy that majestically blasts zombies straight out of your field of view. What I love about this weapon is that it's a chargeable weapon with a functional dial on the model itself, so players can keep track of the actual blast that they're emitting from this weapon. Of course, there's 3 stages. There's normal blast, which is showed in green, then you've got yellow blast and red blasts. Now, a fully charged shot from this Atomwaffe will not only send zombies flying, but will also electrocute and chain damage, much like a Wunderwaffe, to zombies in the surrounding area. It's an immensely powerful tool that thankfully isn't too stressful to build either. All players will need to do is feed these extractors to get vials, submit the vials to the weapon table, and they can get their hands on this absolute beast of a weapon. Like I said, it's fully custom modeled, custom animated. It's got a lot going for it, to be honest. I think it looks absolutely stunning, and the functionality, especially for 2019, felt so unique, and it felt like a truly brand new custom Wonder Weapon, which is of course what this list is all about. This weapon also had an upgrade quest. It was also pretty dead straight. All you really needed to do was use the Atomwaffe to shoot the banks that you deposited the vials into, throw some nades outside of the map to hit certain meteors, and then kill some keepers that drop some stones, and then you can pretty much walk straight back up to the weapon table and purchase an upgrade for 5,000 points. This of course gave the weapon a new look, buffed the ammo, and buffed the damage output. Now, unlike the other weapons mentioned in this list, the Atomwaffe does have a rather significant drop in damage in the later rounds. If you fully charge it, the electricity will still handle business for the most part. However, even that, some zombies survive. In the very high rounds, it's definitely not going to completely save your life in corners, but it does still kill and does still function to an extent. But I'd definitely say with this ammo pool that it's not really worth using on round 100 plus, mainly because most zombies survive even the fully charged shots, and so you're pretty much better off just using a dead wire normal weapon. However, one neat little party trick of the Atomwaffe is that a fully charged shot from this upgraded variant will destroy the Panzerhound. So I guess it's a good backup weapon in that sense, because those rounds are pretty terrifying and you're having to run around to try and find a bazooka. You don't need to do that when you're wielding this bad boy. All things considered, especially for the time that it released, which is also kind of impacting my influence on where this goes in the list, the Atomwaffe more than deserves its spot in the number 2 position. Before we head into number number 1 though, I want to go through some honorable mentions, and I'm gonna fess up, there's a lot of honorable mentions. To be honest, this may as well have been a top 10 list, but nonetheless, let's hop in. Our first honorable mention goes to the Shino Arashi found within Operation Harborage, another Mad Gaz map wielding another all-custom wonder weapon that shoots this incredible green ball of energy that not only lures zombies to it, but drags them straight into the underworld. It is a super cool wonder weapon that definitely deserves to be mentioned. Another honorable mention going to the Shadow Scythe found within Rainy Death. Getting kills with this melee weapon drops some artifacts that once grabbed allow you to do a devastating blast that completely annihilates everything in its wake. The Scepter of Atlahua found within Atlahua was almost not quite considered for this list because it is using the origin staff animations, but it does to me look like a completely custom model for a weapon that can send entire hordes straight into the afterlife. We also have Rick's Revolver found within Internment, which when upgraded can incinerate entire hordes of zombies and lures them to this orb with this pretty dope effect. Aesthetically, this one is one of my favorites and does remind me a lot of the Alistair's Folly. The next honorable mention goes to the Puke Ray found within Mori Rebirth. A pistol baby gun hybrid with custom animations brings us this weapon that basically is kind of like turned in a sense. You shoot a zombie and it will quite literally puke on the surrounding zombies, which will then infect those zombies, causing them to also puke. It's a chain reaction of puke is what it is, but you can't say it's not unique, and it definitely deserves to be mentioned in this list. The next honorable mention, I did say there was a lot of them, goes to Longinus's Legacy found within Ve Victis. This recently got a buff, so it's definitely worth mentioning now. And I suppose with this, the key is volume. It's an elemental spear that once shot at the ground slows zombies and all enemies for that matter and slowly kills them. After the recent update for this map, throwing an abundance of these spears into the floor will cover you. It is now incredibly powerful and definitely worth keeping in your inventory. It's got a striking model as well as striking general visual effects. Coming into the last few honorable mentions now, we have the Lasercraft Model 1 found within Rainy Death. This weapon, again with custom animations and a unique model, shoots sharp beams of electricity in a straight line through the horde. Whilst it's not the most effective wonder weapon, it is definitely awesome to look at. And of course, we couldn't have a custom wonder weapon list without singing our praises for the L2 pressurized harpoon found within Leviathan. This weapon, once acquiring the upgraded crystal variant, functions both as a devastating one-time blast akin to the thunder gun, as well as an electrified rope that very effectively kills anything that steps foot in it. This dual functionality is super unique, super fun, and I feel like this is probably one of the most innovative wonder weapons on this list in terms of functionality. And the last honorable mention is a bit of a tricky one because it is directly based on a weapon from, I believe it was Advanced Warfare, but as it wasn't based on a wonder weapon, I guess I can allow it in this part of the list, and that is the HZC Proto Buffer found within Dead High. This weapon can be upgraded into 4 very unique variants, each with their own style of play. All of them are a devastating laser rifle with fully automatic functionality, but one upgraded variant emits a ball of plasma that you can shoot into to emit devastating blasts in its surrounding area. A second upgrade variant allows players to tactically shoot a ring of healing aura to an area. A third upgrade variant lets players actually shoot a teleport point that you can beam yourself to. And a fourth upgrade variant allows players to shoot a ball of electricity that slows and disintegrates zombies in its wake. Having all of these variants, I mean, it had to be mentioned, and Dead High is an awesome map that everyone should go play. But enough with the admittedly huge abundance of honorable mentions, and on to the number 1 spot in this list. It goes to the Murder Vault found within Rainy Death. Where to start with this wonder weapon? Well, it might be probably my favorite wonder weapon in zombies at all, period, including Treyarch maps. Fully modeled, fully custom animated with an all new effect, this weapon effectively shoots a ball of energy that then sends heat-seeking electric surges to nearby zombies and completely destroys them. Which means, yes, you can shoot this thing directly at the sky and have these heat-seeking energy surges rain down, which looks so freaking cool. You can bounce the energy straight off of the floor, use it how you want to. This weapon will proactively find targets for you and completely annihilate them. Acquiring this weapon is dead simple. You just need to keep playing and collecting the alternate currency found in this map until you've acquired 100, and then you can go to the trader pod and purchase this weapon. Now, it's not designed to save you from corners. Unlike the tractor cannon also found in this map, it's not going to get you straight out of any scenario instantly, but so long as you plan ahead, you'll find that this weapon is incredibly effective. Upgrading it is a blessing as well, because for this weapon, all you need to do is just take it straight into the Pack-a-Punch machine, and it's as simple as that. And once upgraded, it will send even more trails of heat-seeking energy to nearby zombies. It's got decent mobility, it's nice and quick to reload, it's got a custom inspect animation, it's not not tedious at all to acquire, and honestly it kind of just ticks all of my boxes. And I like the fact that it doesn't get you out of corners instantaneously. I think with how easy it is to actually get, I wouldn't want it to literally tick every single box in terms of productivity, much like, you know, the Apothicon Servant. I think that would be way too overpowered, but this weapon undoubtedly gives you a ton of reward for just doing things you're gonna do naturally by playing the map anyway, and I love weapons that follow that format. And this weapon, thankfully, is exceptionally well performing on round 100. It's pretty much no different on round 100 to how it functions on pretty much any other round. So this is an absolute must for anyone trying to reach the high rounds in Rainy Death, and you can actually wield both the Murder Vault and the aforementioned Tractor Cannon at the same time to make one absolutely devastating combo. Another touch that I love about this weapon too is that any zombie that gets ensnared by the energy that this weapon emits will be met with the most just aggressively gory death imaginable. It's a complete burst of blood and parts, and it's just absolutely just insane to look at. It definitely lives up to its name, I'll tell you that much. Clearly a lot of love and work was put into this map by Hitman Veer as well as these weapons, and in my opinion the Murder Vault is just the absolute pinnacle of what a wonder weapon should be, and to me is the clear candidate for the #1 position in the top 5 custom zombies wonder weapons. But that concludes this video, lads, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Cheers.